Arranger, a role-puzzling adventure, is a game that's only been on my radar for about a month, but it's now one of my favorite titles I've played so far this year. I tried the demo out during Steam's Next Fest in June, and now I'm here to give you my thoughts on the full game, which releases on July 25th. You play as a girl named Gemma who's ready to leave her hometown once and for all and find out what's really out there. Along the way, she meets a bunch of weird characters in odd predicaments, and eventually ends up saving the world, or something like that. This game is just so completely charming through and through. It's vivid and colorful, and each area has a unique feel to it thanks to differing color palettes and backgrounds. I especially love how the water was done in this jungle section. Major parts of the story are told through these comic panels, simple yet effective, and the rest is done through dialogue that's pretty relatable and did get a few chuckles out of me. There was a bit more talking than I was expecting, but I didn't mind hearing what everyone had to say in between puzzle sections. And these are very much the star of the show. Arranger does one thing, and it does that thing very well. It's sort of a spin on classic block pushing games where instead of pushing things around, the ground moves underneath you and everything in the same row or column moves as well. This feels extremely satisfying, especially looping around from one edge to another, which lets you more quickly traverse open sections. Each area has its own puzzle gimmick, and whenever one of them started to get old, the game would throw something new at you. So for a puzzle game, I'm very happy to say that all of the puzzles are fun and intuitive, nothing is overly complicated or obtuse, and if you do find yourself hopelessly stuck, there is a skip puzzle option. But I found that the few times I did get stuck, the answer was right there in front of me, always something simple and obvious after the fact. You can move in 4 directions, and there's an interact button that's occasionally used with certain items, so really it just comes down to trial and error. The grid-based movement simplifies things too, and I think it really helps to streamline the whole experience, which keeps you moving along, if you know what I mean. Arranger is technically an RPG, a role-puzzling game. There are no choices and consequences, no levels or stats or anything like that, but there are bosses and dungeons, which were some of my favorite parts of the game. The force you're fighting against, called the static, literally holds you back, and any objects infected with it will block your path, so you'll either have to go around them or find other clever ways to progress. Plus, the game even has a little fishing section. It really is an RPG, I guess. In total, it took me a little bit under 7 hours to finish everything, including the game's 3 optional areas, but there are still a few achievements that I missed on my first playthrough, including some pretty fun-sounding ones like stealing a toilet, helping make an omelet, and feeding a duck. The game will tell you when you're about to reach the point of no return, so you can go back and finish up some of those extra puzzles if you'd like. The backtracking required to do so can be a bit tedious, especially if you forget where something is, but I'm honestly just nitpicking here. And one of these optional areas was the coolest part of the game, in my opinion, with some puzzles that only the most curious and eagle-eyed players will even notice. Arranger, a role-puzzling adventure, is the first game from the 4-person team at Furniture and Mattress, and I really hope it's not the last because it's such a solid experience with lots of little quirks and a few surprises too. Aside from PC, it's also coming to PS5 and Switch, and it is the perfect game to go handheld with, running flawlessly on my Steam Deck. Really, the only question I'm left with after playing is, what's not to love here? If any of what I've said has made you curious, the demo is still available for you to play on Steam. Overall, it's lovely to look at, the music is perfect for some chill puzzle solving, the story is a little bit cheesy in a fun way, and most importantly, the puzzles stay fresh and engaging all the way through to the end. Let me know if you end up giving Arranger a try, and I hope you all have a wonderful week.